Hi, everyone. Thanks for being here today. I'm here with our special guest, Linda Duong. And Linda currently lives in Sydney, Australia. And we're going to wait a few minutes. I've explained that to her. So we're just going to be patient and wait a few minutes while people come live with us and click on to be here in the class with us. This is going to be really exciting today. So if you're here, let us know. Drop your name in the comments. We get to see the comments. I'm using BeLive TV today, and BeLive is really great, and we get to see the comments, unlike with Zoom where we don't get to see the comments. So drop your comments. Tell us where you're watching from. We always love to know where in the world you are. So as I said, Linda's in Sydney, Australia, and I'm in Los Angeles, California. So we're in totally different parts of the world, and we're 6 hours plus 24 apart because it's 6 o'clock in the morning on Wednesday where Linda lives, and it's noon on Tuesday where I live. So that's like what, 24 plus 6 is like, wow, 30 some hours apart. That's a lot. Wow. That's like almost 2 days.
Yes, I live in your future. I love to say that to my American friends and European friends. I live in your future.
Yeah, you live in the future. That's exactly right. I like that. But I've never heard anybody refer to it that way before, but that's really clever. That's
I
very,
can't travel. I travel to your future.
it is. So we're going to wait just a couple more minutes, and so I know Salman is here. I don't have any other comments yet. People oftentimes come in late. Sometimes they catch the replay. It's the middle of the night where a lot of our students are. So sometimes they catch the replay, but more and more people will join us as they realize we're live. But I think we're going to wait one more minute and then get started. So I'm going to pull up your introduction so I can tell people about you. This is always the hardest part for me, Linda, is waiting.
Oh.
I'm not a good waiter. I'm not a good
That's
waiter.
all right. We can wait. We can wait.
Yeah,
And one thing apart from telling you that I'm from your future, I love to always share that I am from a place, a land where the koalas are always eating and sleeping.
oh, nice. I've never been to
And
Australia. That's on my list of places to go. I have a lot of
oh,
friends from Australia, but I've never been there. I
okay,
would like. I'll come
so
visit
it's
you.
yeah, I will look forward to that. I will look forward to show you koalas and kangaroos.
All right. So I'm going to go ahead and introduce you, and we can go ahead and get started with this fabulous topic. So Linda Duong is an inspirational speaker. She is a #1 best-selling international author on Amazon, and the name of her book is Connection, the Currency to Happiness. I love that. She's an in-demand life coach, business coach who's helped many of her clients attain and reignite their happiness and achieve their life dreams. Linda has achieved all the dreams of her own thus far, starting with the one she had at age 5, and she's still achieving what her heart desires. She's been interviewed by industry peer leaders in the field of life coaching, which has been aired on global radio broadcasts and in leading magazines. She's traveled the world and connects with multicultural individuals and groups beyond the spoken language. And Linda's mission in life is to be known for inspiring others to become more than what they thought they could be and to help them attain their ultimate happiness. Because as Linda says, happiness is another form of wealth, which is the most treasured form of wealth. Her goal is to help at least 1 million people to be happier, including all of you listening to us today. So Linda, tell us, why are you so passionate about this? Why is it that you're doing this?
Well, this particular talk today is because I speak to so many people, high achievers, PhDs, business people. And when you run a small business or your own company, particularly CEOs, can be very lonely. It can be a very, very lonely journey.
Yes.
And so it could be really easy to fall into the pattern of, we're achieving, we're working, you're chasing the goal. And boom, you burn out, you know.
Yeah.
And so I just thought there's other ways, and you could really, it could be your $1 million, it could be whatever it is. You could really actually enjoy it as you do it. And I have this this knack of working out things very quickly. So I'm all
That's a
about
good
EQ.
skill.
I'm all about, connecting, obviously, because my book is a connection. So all my life, that's what it is. And I find it from connecting, using your EQ in always all areas of life, you actually achieve your goal a lot
Yeah.
faster.
Yeah.
And
So,
particularly when I say connection, I don't mean to externally depend on other people. I'm strongly focusing today's talk on ourself, our own connection. Because when you run your business, wanting to be a millionaire, you run your own show. You've
yeah.
got to be so in touch with yourself. You've got to be so clear with yourself what you want. You've got to be your own leader. No one's going to lead you. Well, there are, but so called every day, day to day. You've got to be your own leader.
Yeah.
And being a self leader, you've really got to be, like if you keep seeking to externally, you're going to run low very quickly energy wise. But when we turn inwards, we get more and more empowered as we go.
Yeah. That
And
makes total sense. And the way I look at it is like what you're talking about is you have to become who you need to be in order to be that successful millionaire or even just to be happy. You've got to do the inner work to get there, right?
and exactly, just like as a child, right? You learn to walk by walking. So if you want to be a millionaire, you've got to be the millionaire. You've got to see yourself as the millionaire. You've got to think like a millionaire. You've got to act like a millionaire. You've got to behave like a millionaire. And you've got to respect yourself like a millionaire. And so, how is that? How does one see, think, act, respect, behave like one when you're not yet? So, you study and you examine. And so, there are a few different types of millionaires, right? So this is where, again, you're tuning into yourself. You study, that's the external guy, but then you've got to look inward again. So they are the people who drive fancy cars, big beach house, showing off all the time of the
Yeah.
status that what they are like. They are the ones that you don't even know right? But they have a wealth of everything, not just the dollars in the pocket, but they have a wealth of information, a wealth of everything. And so it is pretty much of us needing to know who we are to portray who we really are. And so on that note, I won't go deep into it yet, but on that note, you're really branding yourself as who you are, not just the business. If you really aspire to be the millionaire, who are you really? What kind of millionaire do you want to be? And so that's what I like to share. And when you want to be the millionaire, one of the biggest thing is you've got to give yourself the permission. You've
I
got
like
to
that.
give yourself the permission to do it, because
Yeah.
so many people, like, we grow up as kids, miss wait in the class, miss, can I say something, your mom, can I have this, right? That's great because we need order, we need children to follow instructions in order for things to function. But we are grown ups now. you know you are the leader of yourself, and that's my passion, is to help everyone to be leaders of themselves, right? You don't need to wait for permission. You don't need for someone to say, oh, you're doing a good job, because being a self leader, you cannot wait for other people to say you're doing a good job or it's okay to do that. You can do that now.
Mhm.
You've got to take the drive. You've got to take the risk. You've just got to know, how do you know it? You've got to tune in all the time. Why
Yeah.
am I doing this? What am I doing? What's my purpose? What's my value? So you've got to tune in all the time. And so that's
And
why I say use emotional intelligence, self connection to empower yourself to be the millionaire that you want to be.
Yeah, that
And
makes
when
perfect sense because we have to take responsibility for our own lives. We just have to.
absolutely,
But when you're an adult,
absolutely,
nobody else wants to be responsible for you.
no.
So,
And then in the
before
end,
I'm sorry,
so,
before you go on, I just want to say that I'm getting comments, but Facebook isn't identifying. I'm not seeing who's making the comment. So it says comment from Facebook. And one comment is she sent me her book, Connections to Nairobi, and we keep making reference to it each time as I keep reading it. She says happiness is an inside job, not external pursuits.
oh, lovely. Thank
Who
you
is
for
that?
that
Could that
comment.
be Albert making that comment? And then another person says, hi, ladies. And then another comment is, good evening, dear Julia Neiman and Linda Duong. And then another comment is, I know Linda, but it doesn't tell me who's making these comments. So Linda,
Hello, my friends. I
yeah,
can't see
exactly.
you,
So
so
maybe when you're leaving your comment, put your name first before you make your
yeah.
comment so that we can address you directly. Because
I'm
all
sure we can see it afterwards. I'm sure
maybe
we can see all the names afterwards, just not
this
right now.
Be Live has not done this before. Normally I get the person's name, so I don't know
Oh,
what's.
right. Well, at least you see the comments. I see, I see nothing. So thank you for sharing that. Thank you for
Yeah, you're
telling me.
welcome. We'll stop every so often and acknowledge the comments.
Sure, that would
Yeah.
be lovely. That would be
Okay.
lovely. Yes.
Okay. So I'm sorry I interrupted you. Go.
Oh, that's okay. So we lost train of thought now.
So
So
Linda,
I was saying, yeah.
for those that don't know, maybe you could just briefly explain emotional intelligence to us.
So to me, in a very simple term, so not technical, not from the, the big
Hmm.
psychologist theory. So everything I do is practical every day, right? Every day, the applications. To me, basically, is knowing your emotions and other people's emotions. Simple as that. Simple as that. And we human, that is our biggest asset. That is the biggest asset. Professor Leif Evanson is the first professor on intellectual capital. So he says that, intellectual capital is the next most important thing. Because, in the past, you've used machinery, you can duplicate things, but now it really depends on us now to lead the next generation.
Right.
Yes.
And
So
you can have emotional intelligence even if you don't have higher education, right? Or even a good education. It has
that's
nothing to
right.
do with education.
That's the beauty thing about emotional intelligence is that you can actually learn and train yourself and practice. So it's not like IQ, intelligence, you're born with it. Some of it, some people will believe IQ is predetermined and that's it, but still not true. You can still grow as well,
Mhm.
with all, yes, but more so with EQ, you can definitely be introduced to, you can definitely study it, you can definitely just practice it simply. All it is just really simple, just being aware. The awareness is so huge. Just simple. Everything I do is from very simple point of view. I teach my children this, I teach kids this. All you have to do is just ask yourself, what am I doing?
Mhm.
Why am I doing it? And how am I going? And then afterwards, just ask yourself, did it work? Did it work? How would I do it differently? Very simple, but very powerful. You can apply with children, with adults, at teaching, at leadership, company, parenting, everywhere, everywhere. Very simple questions. And it can have very, very powerful effects. If
So
you
the
get
trick,
used to,
I'm sorry,
sorry,
the trick that I can see from my own clients is the ability to be honest with yourself when you're asking
uh-huh,
yourself these questions,
right,
right? And
right.
not like slough off the awareness and go, oh no, it's not that. I'm doing okay. But to be
Yes,
real.
to be real, to be
Yeah.
real. That's why it requires you to look within and not
Yeah.
externally. You're not waiting for someone to say, "Oh, that was okay. Oh, you did a good job." Oh, no, you're not waiting for that.
Yeah.
You are with yourself, and that's what self-leadership is all about. You don't need to wait for permission. You don't care. Not that you don't care. Any compliments, it's great. It's wonderful. It helps us to, boost our encouragement. But you're not waiting for that. When it comes, it's wonderful. But you're not waiting for that. You know it yourself. You know it yourself. When you do a good job, give yourself a big pat on the back, on the shoulder. And I would have my cup of coffee, my tea.
Exactly.
That is the quickest, simplest ways to celebration. And celebration is so quick. I mean, so big. So if anytime you've done a good job, you don't have to wait for someone to say, "Hey, that was a good job." You just get a cuppa, whatever it is. I try to do very healthily. Instead of have cake, I have a piece of fruit. I know it sounds boring.
Yeah,
Occasionally,
no,
I do have
no.
cake. Whatever it is that works for you, that to acknowledge yourself, to just simply have a moment to just say, "That's it. I've done it. I did it," or just simply say, "Wow, I'm happy with that. I'm happy how that went." But just the simple act of acknowledgement, it's so powerful. It is so powerful to prepare yourself to keep going. Because,
You know,
when you run your own show, no one's going to be there to hold your hands.
that's right.
No
I
one.
think it's really important that you said that. I was reading an article that somebody posted in one of the groups that we're both in about how in the Scandinavian countries and the Nordic countries, they don't, when you do a job well, nobody congratulates you. Nobody, it's like
Oh,
they just have expectations that you're going to do your job well, and they don't think you need to be praised for
right.
doing what's expected of you. And so people have to find their own way of keeping themselves motivated and keeping themselves going. So the celebration part is so important. People forget
It
to
is. It is.
celebrate
I mean, I
even
would
small
love to share with them that just celebrate. We
amounts.
should really celebrate each other's success and cheer each other's on. But very
Yeah.
often, especially being an entrepreneur, you're in your own environment, right? Whether you
Mhm.
have staff or not, you often operate on your own. You make your decision, you do whatever it is. You really just got to back yourself up.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
Linda, there's some more comments here. And
Mhm.
somebody, again, I don't, and that was Albert who said you sent your book to him,
Yes.
Albert from Nairobi. And let's see,
Lovely.
we have one comment, and I'm not seeing names still. So if you could
Okay.
pop your name in, somebody says it's the same technique that's used with the TED Talks. Why, what, how, you stay focused on your sharing through this technique. And oh, that's Lizetta. Thank you, Lizetta. Appreciate that.
Thank you.
Lizetta's one of our new mentor teachers. And then another comment just says good. I don't know what that's in reference to. And then someone is saying, I cannot share this Facebook Live on my timeline. I don't know why that is. Be Live hasn't done this before. I don't know if it's something that I didn't do right or something that's Be Live is experiencing today, but I don't know how to answer that because
But
always
at,
before I've seen
but
people.
at least, yeah, I
But
was just gonna say, at least we can still share the recording afterwards. So
exactly,
that's okay. Yeah, yeah.
exactly. Yes.
Mm. Yeah, so I was just saying, you just got to give yourself permission. You've got to back yourself. You've got to tune in all the time in order to lead yourself to where you want to go.
Yeah.
And that's very empowering. It's very, very powerful. That instead of having to wait for external places, things to come to you, it's just a lot more self-empowering. So today I would like to, so basically we kind of briefly gone through it, but those are my 5 tips, right? To operate as a millionaire, you've got to see yourself as a millionaire. You've got to think like one. You've got to respect yourself as one, and you've got to act like one and behave like one. And so what I'll do is I'll go through each of them, and we
Great.
can go through, and if there's any questions, we'll answer. So, you know, if you see yourself as a millionaire, then you really got to ask yourself, why do I want to be a millionaire? What is it? What really is it? Is it just to have the money for the comfort of things? Or is it to help family? Whatever the reason is, you've got to define it for yourself. Once this is clear, then it's a lot more attainable, a lot more achievable, right? And one of the things that I just like to remind everyone is that while you're chasing, working so hard for that millionaire goal, often people get so burnt out, so tired, and some days it's like, is it even worth it? Can I even do it? But you think about it, if you think from the top down, imagine if you see yourself already a millionaire, what would you be doing? Now, of course, you haven't got $1 million yet, you can't travel the world. But what can you do? What does that $1 million give you? The first thing come to my mind is freedom, right? Freedom to do what I want to do. And that is basically a sense of freedom, a sense of joy and enjoyment. So if you work with it backward, it is just so amazing and so empowering, right? And if I work backward, it means that if I have a sense of freedom, that means I can work when I want to work. I do what kind of work I want to do. Again, it goes back to giving yourself the permission. And then you ask yourself, why did I begin to go into business to begin with? It's for the sense of freedom, so that I don't have to report to anybody. I do what I want to do, when I want to do, what kind of project I want to do. And so then again, if you check with yourself, what's your value? What kind of project do you want to work? What do you want to be known for? What brings you joy? So when you tune in like that, use your own emotional intelligence that way, you become such more powerful self-leader. You can easily say no to projects that it's not aligned with your value. You can easily say, hey, today I'm going to have a break. I'm going to be kind to myself because I don't feel 100%. Instead of looking at the deadlines, oh my God, I got to do that. And just like, you're like crashing before you even get there. So you get the drift, right?
Yeah.
And so that's where my passion is. So I want to help share this so that we can save the burnout from so many high achievers. And so when you turn it upside down, look at it from this angle where you're really up there and look backwards. So in my book, I share there's a mountain for leadership. And so basically, if you imagine yourself already up there, then you operate that way, it's completely different. It's a lot more empowering, a lot more free, a lot more joy. And you don't have to feel like, I've got to do this, I've got to do that. And oh my God, it's all crumbling down. So that's how it's like if you see yourself as one before you even get there.
So basically what I hear you saying is that we need to make this mindset shift. And if you want to be a millionaire, you have to develop the mindset of a millionaire. And
just simply see yourself as one.
See, that's the page that I'm on, and like keep trying to tell my clients, if you want to be a millionaire, you have to see yourself as one. And a millionaire, maybe you need a few $1 million to have freedom, because $1 million isn't as much as people think. And you can blow through it really fast if you're not. That's a thing about millionaires too, Linda, that I think is fascinating that a lot of people don't know. Millionaires just don't spend their money just to spend money. True millionaires. If you have a millionaire mindset, then you have a wealth creation mindset as well. And that's how they keep their money. They make the money, but they keep it by using wealth creation principles, right? They don't just go out and spend it.
Some don't, and I will enlighten you on that part. But just for now, let's talk about the millionaire. How I just think it's a little bit overrated, even though it is hard to achieve the $1 million. It's not easy. I'm not downplaying that. But like you said, the $1 million goes very quickly. So it really depends on how you see and how you. Now, I'm not an accountant and I'm not very good at figures, but just to share with everybody, how do you really consider yourself a millionaire? In Sydney, housing are so expensive, right? Where I live, housing is very expensive. If you have a house, you're really a millionaire. Can you consider that? No, not really. Someone would say, no, not really, because we still pay mortgage to the bank, right? And some other people would say, yeah, it is, because you really live in a $1 million mansion. So it really, depends on how you truly calculate that, and that you go through with your accountant, right? And then some people will say, no, you've got $1 million in your pocket before you call yourself millionaire, right? And so really, it's not the term itself,
right?
But it's really about your learning to grow, your expansion, your goal in achieving, in expanding yourself. And like you said, some real millionaires don't spend money. The real one, like you said, you don't even know they are, because often they work multiple jobs. They save so hard to accrue the interest in the bank. You can't even tell. But there are some others who are truly wealthy,
Yeah.
that those will be, you see the fancy car, the house, the blah, 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 the full on party all the time. If they last for years, then those are multi-millionaires. They're not just millionaire. So
Yes.
don't be aspired to just to that image. That image is not the true indication of being a millionaire. It's what I'm trying to share.
That's right. You
You
should do a class for lottery winners. Because, lottery winners, they win these millions, these big, like 63 million or 163 million dollars. They don't know anything about money, or they would have had some, and they don't know what to do with it. So most of them within the first year blow the whole amount. And then they're left with
very
nothing.
easy.
They're in a worse situation than they were before. They need to learn from you how to become the person they need to be in order to have this money. I mean, and
For,
people
for,
don't
for me,
realize
plus an
that.
accountant.
Yeah, people just, they like start a business. They go, well, I'm going to make $1 million. But you need to learn along the way how to manage that money as it starts coming in, and how to appreciate it so that it becomes even more.
And
That to
in
me is where you use
order,
your emotional intelligence, right?
yes, in order to do that, you need to step back and actually see the bigger vision. Why do you want the millionaire? What purpose does it serve?
Yeah.
Is it just to have the money? Is it, for some people, be to help the family back in home? Many reasons. But if you get that so clear in your head,
Yeah.
then it will be very, very powerful. It will be very, very much more clearer to achieve. And
Yeah.
so, yeah, and like you said, right, some millionaire hold on to their money. They don't give it away. But I actually suggest that you actually can give some away if you are
Oh,
practicing to be a
absolutely.
millionaire. And giving away doesn't have to be your own pocket money, you know. And that's the part that, again, to me, is practicing to be a millionaire is the when you act like a millionaire, to me, my personal view and feel is that millionaire, if you already have wealth, you wouldn't be so uptight and so called, what's the better word than stingy? Like,
Yeah.
you don't need to hold on to everything, because you have the power to generate now. If you have the power to generate, you can come from a place of abundance, and you
That's
can come from a place of sharing. And when I say sharing, it doesn't really mean that you have to take the money out of your pocket to give it away, because that doesn't last. We all know that. And we all have to work so hard for it. And there's so many places, so many charities. You just cannot give everywhere. I mean, I would love to give everywhere, but it's just impossible.
that's
But
right.
it's more so of the abundance mindset. Again, it comes back to the mindset, the mind and heart. And that's why I call it emotional intelligence. It's all back to the mind and heart. Simple things such as, give a bit of your support, a bit of your time, your smile.
That's right.
in, Give in any way you can. I mean, there are times that I would actually give money whenever I can, right? But when you give, don't just give money away. If you give money away, it will get spent and it doesn't sustain. So with my book, I support 4 courses. I call it 3 charity, but it's actually 4 courses. One of the courses is to build school in Uganda. So if I give my money away, it just gets used and that's it. But the money gets built school, and when these children learn, and it's for adults as well. So when these children learn, their education is what will help to fix the poverty situation. And it doesn't
Exactly.
end there. It doesn't end with their generation. It goes on to the next generation and the generation after. Even if disaster come to school, it's broken, the knowledge is already in their head. They will then be able to empower their own kids and their kids and the grandkids.
That's right.
So when you give, don't think just giving as in from your pocket to someone's pocket and sparing them, because that doesn't help them grow.
Yeah.
So that's the part that respect yourself as a millionaire. When you respect yourself as a millionaire, you respect yourself like a leader. And as a leader, you will think further, deeper, and higher. How can you contribute in ways that beyond what you can see?
Yeah, you know what you just were talking about makes so much sense. And when you look at the really, really wealthy people in the world, like the billionaires like Bill Gates and Warren Buffett, they've signed a pledge to give away their wealth to do good in the world, right?
Because when you
it changes your whole energy, it changes your mindset, it gets you out of yourself and opens your heart, actually. And when that happens, there's the go-giver movement. They say give to get. The more you give, the more comes back to you, right? And it does work.
But don't give to expect to get in return, though.
Right. No,
that wouldn't be what I recommend.
No, you're right.
That is naturally the so-called the law of the universe, so-called, that if you give, you would get. Naturally, if I look at you and I smile wholeheartedly, sincerely, genuinely, naturally you will smile back. It's really hard not to smile back. But if I look at you and I go, like, you would give me a stern face back. Like, yeah, you're looking for a fight or something, like, and it's really, you go and test it, right? When you go off anywhere, Facebook, anywhere, you look at someone and you genuinely smile. They can't help. They smile back. So that's the law of giving and receiving. But I don't recommend, I'm not saying to give just so that you can receive. That's not what I'm advocating.
No, I agree.
But on the last chapter of my book, it's dedicated to all the volunteers and the charity workers, because when we work for others, when we give, you suddenly realize that, when you focus just me, it's so little. We're just one individual. But when you look at everybody as a whole, it's so huge. Your heart suddenly becomes so much bigger. Your heart suddenly becomes so much bigger. Your purpose in life just suddenly becomes so much more meaningful. On your down day, it's no longer that big a deal. You really feel that there's this whole universe out there. And, so it just becomes a lot more powerful and a lot more empowering. So basically, with all my work, it's aiming to help people to feel more empowered, to help everyone to feel more fulfilled doing whatever they do. And under it all is to help address the biggest issue on the big umbrella of the mental health.
Yes.
And I just think we are human. The unique distinctiveness of human, we are animal, but apart from animal, we have emotions that that's just the most powerful thing. And that's what I'm all about.
That's a good thing to be about. And we all need people who are about that can help us break out of that ourselves. I appreciate that a lot, that you are talking about mental health, because in my career, when I was working, I was a clinical social worker. And so all of my clients had a variety of mental health issues.
Wow. Okay.
And that was what I had to work with. And that's how I got into teaching entrepreneurship to teenagers, because my teens in foster care, they could get a job, but they couldn't keep it because of their mental health issues.
So,
getting them started. Go ahead.
Yeah. Sorry. Sometimes, I don't mean to be rude. I have this tendency that I'm very spontaneous. And so when a thought comes in my mind, it's like I'm so excited, so passionate. I can't wait to share. And it's just like.
Same here.
So excuse me on that.
That's all right. I do want to stop just a second, because we have a couple more comments here.
Sure.
And so Amy said, no one is ever going to give you permission. You have to give it to yourself.
Exactly.
And Lizette has a couple of comments here. She's saying that, that's a repeat. She loved our conversation. Oh, she says, Lizette says, transformation from a me mindset to a we mindset.
Yes, definitely.
Very important. And and then she also says, from the 7 level of consciousness, Level 4 is about transformation, becoming a leader, acting from the we mindset. It's about compassion for the other person, how to act to support.
Yeah.
That's very important. So, yeah, and I think that everybody needs to learn about mental illness and what it is, because there's so many things when we get depressed. If we don't deal with that before it becomes a big issue, then it becomes a mental health issue.
Well, I kind of agree and not so agree, if I may share, quite frankly,
Certainly.
because what we focus becomes more apparent, and it becomes bigger, and it
Right.
becomes bigger and bigger. So
Yeah.
I'm all about positivity. I'm all about being positive. That doesn't mean I haven't had my fair share of hardship. If you read my book, you will you will hear all the hardship. So it doesn't mean that I'm not facing it. It doesn't mean that I'm denying it or hiding it. It's none of those. But I have learned that whatever you put focus and energy into, it becomes more and more and more.
That's right.
So I don't quite fully agree with teaching mental health as such. But what I would love to do is to teach how to be positive in every single way you can. That would be amazing. Now, a lot of people always ask me, how are you always like that? And then it's like, do you ever have the downtime? I do. Of course I do. Right. But it is about knowing how to just switch it very quickly. It's about,
Yeah.
seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. I know it is hard. Sometimes, we stay so far back that there's just no chance to see it. So it's the heartbeat, the challenge. It's how to lead yourself to even just a bit closer, 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 closer each time, instead of studying the hole so that I won't fall down. But guess what? The more you look at the hole, the bigger the hole it is, the deeper it is, and the more chances it's gonna fall down. But I would rather say, look at this way. This is what we're gonna do. And each time I trip over a little bit, how do I get up really quickly? How do I get back and go there? So that is where my passion is.
Yeah,
So
that makes sense. And that's kind of what I was talking about. It's like,
yes,
yeah, the hole's there, the depression could be there. We all have down days, but if you spend a lot of time, thinking about it and making yourself more down, you're going to go into that hole. And that's what I mean.
absolutely.
So you're using
Yes.
positivity
Yes.
and being, it's one thing, you have to acknowledge the hole is there so that you don't go in that direction, right?
Exactly.
That's what I was
Awareness.
trying to say. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, great. Thank you. I must have misunderstood you. So yeah, the huge thing is about awareness.
Yeah.
Just being aware. That's why I constantly say, just ask yourself. Very simple. I don't need big theories to teach what I teach. I teach things very simply. Simply make a habit of just asking yourself, what am I doing? Throughout the day, just what am I doing? Why am I doing it? How am I going? 3 simple questions. And at the end of the day, or even at the end of each task, how did I go? Did I like that? Was that good? Is that how I want it to be? If you get into a habit of doing that, oh my goodness, your process in life every day, completely different. Completely different. Yes.
Yeah.
And it sounds like a lot of steps, but it isn't. Once you get into it, it just becomes so natural. You'll be just doing it without thinking.
That's right. So do we have I know there's some great comments. What about questions? Anybody out there have any questions? And please remember to post your name so we know who's either asking the question or leaving a comment. Because people are still saying hi, nice talking, but we don't know who that is. So, it's always something, right, Linda?
Yeah.
We just have to do our best to get around it.
So you know how I share the 5 tips to operate like a millionaire? We will jump forth and back in between the 5 tips, because nothing is script here. So when you see yourself as a millionaire and you operate like one, it's already giving you the feeling that you're already there, so that you don't have to feel like I'm still chasing, I'm yearning for it. It really takes away that anxiety, and it really feels a lot empowered. And I share a funny little story, right? I'm sure many people would probably have heard this story before, but I'll share it anyway to illustrate a point.
Okay, great.
Have you heard about the fisherman story, Julia?
Which one? There's several fisherman stories.
Well,
So,
they all told slightly different, but essentially it really means just, you already have what you have, but you're not knowing that you already have what you have, right? So I tell it very simply, right? So one day the fisherman was sitting there, fishing. A businessman comes by, saw that, wow, this guy's doing really good. He's got a lot of great fish. And the businessman was so enthusiastic and saying, oh, wow, you're doing good. I actually think that if you go out to sea, get a boat, go out to sea, you can get a lot more. And then you can come back and you can start the whole business, and then you're going to generate a lot of wealth, and then you can retire and do whatever you want to do. And the fisherman just looking at him say, I'm already doing what I want to do. I just want to sit here and fish. So, so,
I hadn't heard that story.
well,
That's
I'm
one.
telling it very simplifiedly. But
Yeah,
basically, the message is that while you're chasing for what you want, sometimes you just got to realize you already have it. That's one message. That's about being happy. But
yeah,
the other message about being a millionaire is that you've got to see yourself as one. So the fisherman's already acting like what he already wanted to be. He didn't have to go through the whole process to come to what he wanted. He simply just did it.
that's right.
That's in terms of today's teaching, sharing how to see yourself as a millionaire.
Yeah,
You really just simply see yourself as one. Sometimes you say, I don't know how to be one because I've never, been a millionaire before. Look it up, research, and I have a whole long list that I can share with you, the traits of a millionaire. Um, the
that's
more you
great.
study, the more you will know, right? But most importantly, like I said, there are different images. Just design your own one. There
Yeah,
isn't one it's supposed to be. If there is one supposed to be, you're a copycat. Don't be a copycat. Design your own millionaire image. Design your own future. Design your own leader self. What kind of millionaire do you want to be? Do you want to be like just a fisherman, like simplicity in life, but just do what I want? Don't care about the world? Or do you really have to show the whole world that I've got posh, I've got the beautiful house, I've got this, I've got that? So everyone's millionaire definition is different. For some people,
yeah,
just the freedom to do what they want, just have nothing attachment so that they can travel the world. Some people might be, I need the money so that I can help people all around, they're back home, wherever. So don't look outside is what I'm trying to say. Look inward. Look inward and ask yourself, what kind of millionaire do you want to be? And design that for yourself and lead yourself to it.
yeah. That makes such perfect sense. And one of the takeaways that I have from this whole conversation that we've had so far
Mm.
is, to just be you. And if you have a big goal, it's, dream big. I'm a big dreamer. I like to look at really big things. So, my mission that I set out when I first started to work for myself, my mission was to get the entrepreneurship education out to young people all across the globe in order to end youth unemployment, because the youth unemployment crisis is enormous and nobody's really talking about it. So this is what I wanted to do, and it came out of my experience with my job. And I sat there in the beginning and going, holy moly, how am I going to make that happen? And I realized I just needed to start doing it. And one of the things that I do toward that end is teaching here in this classroom. And that's helped me grow my mission, which I'm now in like many countries around the world teaching what I want to teach. And I'm so happy doing it. I just love it.
And
And
that's how you got me here because I'm passionate about the next generation. And so
exactly.
when you say, do what you like, I thought this is it because, this is for the next generation, the next lot of leaders, right?
Right.
I really, really wish that leaders look within and think of everybody. When
Yeah.
we have leaders that just think about themselves, do what they want in their own way, in their own little self, it just becomes completely different.
It
And so
does, and
that's
they're
why
not really leaders. They're not really leaders.
and
Who are
so
they?
that's why I'm so passionate to share with you today in this class. And
Yeah,
when we talk about leaders, for everyone who's listening, watching, please do know that you do not need to have thousands of people following you to be a leader. You
that's
do not need a big stage. You do not need to have the microphone. Be your own leader first. If you can be your own leader, you are already a leader, because you know why? Everything you say matters. Everything. Everything you say matters. At work, at home, at school, everywhere. Everywhere you go, your words matters, whatever you say.
yeah.
I teach little children, when you go to school, whatever you say matters. Your friends listening. If you say a kind word, it makes them happy, you know. And if you say something that they haven't heard of, they'll go, oh wow, they'll follow you. It doesn't mean that they'll call you a leader, but they'll
That,
say, oh, so and so said that. They'll go home and say, Aaron said that, Jason said that, and Tom said that, and Emily said that. It's on the tip of their mouth, you know. And the same as us with colleagues, whatever we found that we say, it matters. It
yes,
matters what we say. And so you really don't need to be on the whole stage, the big platform with the microphone to be a leader. Because I know a lot of business people have great ideas and have this yearning that I need to establish myself as an influencer, as a leader. Start with yourself first. Start with yourself first. If you can lead yourself, I guarantee you, people are just gonna love being with you.
hmm
And people are just going to start recommending you.
I
But
agree.
when you don't have your self-value established, when you're not clear about what you're doing and you keep looking outside, I want to be this, I want to be that, it's just a longer journey. And it's not as empowered, and it's not as joyful, because you keep seeking. You keep seeking, and you keep waiting for feedback, and you keep waiting for the praises and the compliments. You keep waiting for the click and the like. If you look at my Facebook, I am actually not that much out there. I could really do a lot more with what I'm teaching. But um, yeah, those are not the main thing for me. Like, it'd be good. It would be good because that's how I reach out to more people.
That's right.
But I have always focused on doing my own work first. If you do your work first, at first it seems slower process, but the end result, if you compare to the whole journey, it's actually a lot faster. For example, people take 4 or 5 years to write a book. The thing that's of my book, I took 1 year. Why? Because I was focused. I was focused. I didn't worry too much about the click, 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 the likes on Facebook or whatever. I just literally put my head down, and I know my mission is that I need to get this book done. If tomorrow was my last day, that book's got to be done. So when you tune in and work inward, it's so much more powerful. It's really, really so much more powerful. So that's number one, is see yourself as a millionaire. And number two is think like one. How do you think like one? You know, again, once you know your value, once you know your core goals, mission in life. Now, mission sounds like a big word, and not everyone has a mission yet.
That's
If we have a young entrepreneur who's 17, 18, they might not. Just don't think of these big words. All you really think is that, what do I really want to achieve? What is it that make me feel happy, joyful? If you don't know yet, it's okay. What do you like doing? Just ask yourself, what do you like doing? And go from there. And how do you think like one? How is it that our value guide us to be one? I'll share one quick example, and these are real life examples. Yeah. So the name is not real, like all in my book. Um, I think apart from the Green Dragon, all of the story, almost 99% of the stories are all real. So there's a green dragon in my book, by the way, to help you heal. So how do you think like a millionaire? I'll share an example. I call her Emily. Yeah, Emily is not her real name, right? And
Okay.
this story will resonate with many ladies. And I'm sure men can get inspiration from it, will understand it. Emily was having trouble with her marriage. She had, I think the first son at the time was about 2.5, 3, under 3. The second child was just 1. Now, marriage is not working. She had to find her own place. She had to resettle. She had just over $300 in her bank account, no money in her pocket. She had to go and find a place, right? Now, in Australia, it's really good. Australia is a great country. I'm so grateful. There's a lot of government help, right? So she saw her doctor. Her doctor has approved, help her fill in the form for government help, that she needs assistance. She was offered, you would not believe this, amazing. She was offered housing commission. What does it mean? It means that she can live almost for free for the rest of her life.
Wow.
The minimum you pay is $5 per week.
Wow.
Maximum is 20 to 30% of your earning. But the fact that she's a single mom, most likely she wouldn't be working for a little while. I mean, with this story, please don't all flood to Australia because I'm going to be in trouble. See, I'm being aware of what I say that it has impacts. But I really just want to share this story because it's so empowering. It's so powerful, right? Someone's given you the opportunity to look after you for the rest of your life. You don't even have to do anything. 99% of the people will say, yes, please give it to me at no thinking time. What did Emily do? Say, no, thank you very much.
Wow.
She said, no, but thank you. Thank you, but no. Because she knows, right? The minute she accepts that, what does it mean? It means that she's forever dependent financially. It means that she's forever, we call it dole people, like DOLE, dole, like you're on the dole. Like that means you get government assistance.
Yes.
Now, there's nothing wrong with that. If you need the help, you need the help, right? If you need it, you need it. Like she did get some financial assistance, but she said no to the housing offer.
Okay.
That's because she knows her value. She knows who I am. It's only this situation or this circumstance is only now. It's only this situation. It doesn't define me. It doesn't define the whole of me. Just because the marriage is not working out now, just because things are not working out now, does not mean that's the whole lot of me. So she refused it. She worked so hard.
Wow.
But like you said, right, when you can think from a place of abundance, the universe worked very amazingly. Some months later, less than 8 months later, she found out that there was also another government help, that the government would help people who have not bought the first house yet. So she actually got that help instead, because that is different. That is just for first home buyers. It's nothing defining her character, her destiny, her whole self.
Right.
So then she bought her house. Now, 9 years later, that house doubled the value. She's on her way to $1 million, to be a
Wow.
millionaire. Why am I sharing that? So this point was think like a millionaire, right? So even if you're not one yet, how do you think like one? I said, go back to yourself, go back to your value, go back to define who you are. Once you do that, the $1 million is not that big a deal because you're bigger than that. Once you've got yourself, you can do multi-million dollars. You never know. You don't know what future holds. You can be the billionaire. That's how she demonstrated. And I just thought that's a beautiful story to share here.
That is
Don't think of the term don't think of the term millionaire so big a deal. It's really not that big a deal. Really not. But it's more of who you are, what you do, and what value do you hold as yourself. That matters.
Yeah, that's a
And so
very inspiring story.
amazing, yeah.
Yeah, it
It's
really,
amazing.
to be, to be in that situation, but then to be really true to yourself and who you see yourself as. And that can be really hard. I mean, to walk away from, she's got these two little kids and an
Yeah.
uncertain future at that moment, and to walk away from this assistance that was being offered to her because she didn't want to get trapped into that. And that can really happen. They go, I'll just take this temporarily, but then it
Oh,
becomes,
you would jump at it. You would jump at it
yeah,
as such opportunity. Anybody would.
yeah, it
Anybody
becomes so
would.
easy that you can get stuck there,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was a great story.
And that's why I'm so passionate to share all these real life stories. I speak to so many people, Julia. I speak to so many people, and all the stories I share, it's real life stories, and it's really empowering. And it really just goes to show that the power is really within us. How we want to operate, how we want to live our life, how we want to lead our future, our own destiny. Really. So
Yeah.
I just like to share that I know we have all different ages, people in different walks of life and different stages. For the younger entrepreneurs, like I said, 15, 17, 18, whatever, when you hear these stories, please don't be overwhelmed. Please don't think that you have to be like one, but
That's
all you do is begin with yourself. Begin with asking yourself, what do I like? Simple. Simple. At this moment in time, this year, these few months, what makes it meaningful for me. When I say happy, I don't mean to just go out and do anything and go la la la. I don't mean that, right? But what I mean is, what do you think that it makes sense to you, that brings you joy internally, not to get the status, not to get the like, not to be so-called famous or well known for, but what does it make you? Like, who are you? Like, so that you know yourself, who I am as a person. Like, say, for example, for a little kid, 8, 10 years old at the moment, all she likes is gymnastic, right? Gymnastic makes her happy. Then just do that. And then 2 years later, it might be dancing, it might be drama. Then do that. If you just keep following what you do, and of course, when kids are so little, I would need parents to help. I would need parents to, whilst we say that we don't need others' permission, little children do. Little children need parents' permission. And so this is where I am passionate about sharing with parents to honor the kids' passion and not their passion.
that's
So
right.
we're digressing a little bit about millionaire, but it's still the same thing, right? So if I want my child to be a millionaire, I can't just say, I want you to be a millionaire. The child need to know that she wants to be. So we need to respect the child's wish. And if we
Yeah.
can teach that to the child, it's empowering that as she goes or as he grows, he will know that this is my choice. This is me. I want to do this. And so when you have that core thinking in you, you become a great leader.
Yeah.
So that,
I'm sorry, I was going to say, I'm so inspired by some of the young people in the world today. So you say that we need to teach them that and they need permission, but some of these young people are teaching their parents
yeah,
the
no,
principles, right? Look at all the beautiful young people that have stood up. That young woman that
yes,
said, I'm going to strike every Friday and
yeah,
not go to school to bring
Greta,
awareness to
yeah, yeah,
climate change, right? Somebody just nominated her for a Nobel
yeah,
Prize. I mean,
I
the things
know.
you can do and the things that come back to you are just amazing. And
Yes.
these
So,
young people all over the world are teaching us adults about
yes,
how to be.
yes. So Greta is amazing, and at least she's past 12 years old. So I'm talking about the under 10 years old,
Yeah.
right? With the little one. So I guess my point there was that parents need to honor the children's wishes
Yes.
when it's sensible. That's what
Yeah.
I'm saying. Which is in line with Greta's story, that's her wish, right?
Right.
So I've digressed a little bit because we were talking about think like a millionaire. And why did I digress is because I'm talking about building from within, knowing yourself, and it helps when little children are small, that parents are in line with this, that help them to build themselves so
That's
that
right.
they can find themselves. So that's the part that think like a millionaire. And yeah, but I know I'm talking a bit fast and I've expanded to parenting as well. So
Okay.
I'm
It's
just gonna
okay.
pause a little bit. Just let you see if there's any questions. Is there any
Okay,
questions that
great.
we need to address to?
There's a few comments, no questions, and we are coming to the end of the hour, so
Right,
we
right. Okay,
need to wrap it up. But let's see.
right.
Lizetta has been very supportive here with her
Oh,
comments.
thank
She says,
you.
live in the present moment, enjoy all the opportunity you have now. And
Yes,
then, of course, but first of all, we are learning from that people have good ideas in society.
yes,
And then another comment from Lizetta is that authenticity is the best gift you can give others.
yes,
Yeah,
yes. I
that's,
talk about authenticity in my book as well. Yes,
yeah.
just be who
Thank
you
you.
are. Thank you, Lizetta, for all the wonderful comments. Yes,
So
so you,
I'm sorry, we have no questions, but
yes.
I just want to tell everybody, if you're listening on the replay and you've gotten this far, if you have questions, please leave them in the comments and we'll come back, and I'm thinking on Facebook we will be able to see. I got a message here from Be Live that said the problem is Facebook. Their interface
Oh,
with Facebook isn't showing the people commenting. So luckily
right.
it's not anything I did. And
Okay.
hopefully on the replay we'll be able to address people directly.
Yes, and I'm happy to answer any questions we have. Yes,
Yeah. So any
yes.
final words, because we really are getting past the hour now. We need to wrap up.
Sure. The final words is be you. Be you, be who you are, and
Be you.
always know yourself. Always know yourself and be the great leader for yourself. If you're a great leader for yourself, you will be a great leader for everyone.
That's
So,
fabulous. And Linda, where can people connect with you?
yes, they can connect with me on Facebook, linkcoaching.com.au, or Linda Duong, author. And my website is lindaduong.com.au.
Awesome. Okay, remember
And
that .au, not .com.au.
.au, yes, that's right. Yes,
Okay.
I'd like to let people know I'm from Australia.
Yeah, you are. You can tell by your accent. You sound Australian. So, Linda, thank you so much for being here and sharing these amazing ideas and principles with us today. Really appreciate that. And anytime you want to come back, you just let me know. I'm happy to have you back.
I would love to come back anytime to share. It's just so much joy for me to share.
Awesome. And so I have no idea why we couldn't share this live, but after we end, we're going to share this in a lot of
Okay,
places. So, all right, Linda,
sure.
thank you so much. I really, really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
Bye, everybody. See you next
Bye.
Tuesday. It's a little slow.